the Orange Chamber of Commerce. Good morning. You are at Eggs and Issues. I'm 𝘰𝘠𝘵. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started, I have one introduction. I saw our Economic Development Manager, Erin Schultz, join us, also previous guest. Thank you for joining us. I would also like to give a quick acknowledgement. She's changed sides of the room on me, but Elizabeth Hallman, she's normally over here to my left, but you're over here today. Elizabeth, as many of you probably know, has decided to retire against our will. And so she is retiring, and this will probably be her last official, but I hope you'll come back and join us another time just as a guest. But thank you so much for everything that you've done. We so appreciate you. And this meeting is something that could not have continued to go on without you, so I know it's going to continue, but thank you so much, Elizabeth. Along those same lines, she's looking at me and she knows I'm going to say something. Patty Cordova is our incoming executive director. So Patty, welcome. We are so excited to have you. All right, now we're going to start to get into it. So how many of you guys attended State of the City last Friday? Anybody here? If I could ask anybody, what was one key takeaway for you? One person can answer, maybe two. Anybody have anything, a key takeaway that they came away with that day? Anybody? Okay, Pat.
How well the mayor did in presenting the good parts of Orange when we are in a difficult situation.
I agree. Perfect. Thank you for sharing, Pat. And thank you all for attending. It's one of our favorite events of the year, one of our largest events of the year with over 400 people. So there's many of you that I see today and I know we're there and I didn't even get to see you there. So thank you for joining us for that. And with that, I would like to introduce our guest. We have today with us Pam Coleman. She is a city clerk of the city of Orange. Pam, welcome. Thank you. Happy to be here. Before you and I start our chat, I do want to just read your brief bio so people can have a little bit of background about you. Pamela Coleman is a city clerk for the city of Orange. She has 24 years of experience in public service, with 9 of those years serving the community of Orange. She was appointed by the Orange City Council to serve as a city clerk in 2018 when former city clerk Mary Murphy retired and she was elected to the position in 2020. In addition to the elected position, Pamela served as the Director of City Clerk Services for the city since May 2020. Pam graduated from Arizona State University with a degree in public administration. She earned her Certified Municipal Clerk designation in 2017 from the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. Her California Professional Municipal Clerk certificate from the University of California, Riverside in 2018, and is currently working on her Master Municipal Clerk designation. She lives in the city of Orange with her husband of 25 years and their 3 children. In her spare time, Pam enjoys swing dancing, traveling, and spending time with family. Pam, thank you again for joining us. Warm welcome. Thank you. One thing I forgot to mention, which I think you all know, is that Pam is here for you. She's our guest speaker today. I do have some questions I want to go through and kind of ask her to lead the conversation, but she is here for you. So if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand at any time. Let's dive right in.
Okay.
So outwardly, the city appears to be this smooth, well-oiled running machine, but I know the city clerk's office is behind a lot of that. So if you can tell us what your office's primary focus is.
Sure. So yes, the city clerk's office really is like the hub of city government. So we process all of the legislative actions of the city council. So any agendas, minutes, ordinances, agreements, resolutions that comes out of a council meeting is processed through through the city clerk department. We process claims, subpoenas, public records requests. We really kind of make sure. So how I like to describe it is the city council sets the policy, the city manager's office implements that policy, and the city clerk department ensures that they're compliant with state and local and federal laws.
That's a lot. And I know there's only 4 of you. You've got 4 people in your department currently?
So I have 4 full-time employees, and then I have a part-time passport agent.
Okay.
So which is a little bit small for a city our size, but we make it happen.
What would numbers, I guess, if you guys could have your perfect, your ideal number of people, what does that look like?
I would say for a city our size, I would say 7 employees for the clerk department.
Okay. As far as some things that are going on, I noticed, I was looking through like just some of the goals and some of the current things you have going on. I know one thing that you mentioned was you are looking to take the IT department and make those processes paperless. So we have our business community here. How does that, what does that look like for you all as far as implementation, but then maybe cost savings and how that affects the community and maybe how they might be able to do things faster?
Right. So we're working with our IT to make, there's certain requirements from the Secretary of State before you can go completely paperless in a city government. So we are working to kind of get that process started. But what that means is there's less paper, streamlined, because when it's electronic, it's not having to go through this paper process. It's done smoothly electronically. We have implemented, for instance, DocuSign for our signing of agreements, which has made things much quicker. So before you would have to route a paper contract to each person that had to execute it. Well, now that's all done through DocuSign. So, I mean, ideally you could have it done in a day, if everyone was able to get to their computer and sign that. So what that means for the public and for businesses is that those documents can become available on the city's website a lot quicker and easier. So without having to manually scan a document into our system, it's already electronic, so we can just post it on our website. So we are working towards getting a lot of those older documents on our website, which makes it easier for, I know a lot of businesses when they're first starting out, they're either looking for a history of permits or, maybe a history of business licenses or construction done on a particular building. We're hoping that will all be online so that the business owner can look at those things without having to file a public records request, which could take a little bit more time for us to research and find and produce those records. So we're hoping that can soon become a reality.
Now, would that be part of, I guess you mentioned a citywide, a more robust citywide records management system or program? Does that fall in line with that as well?
It does.
Okay.
So we would like to have, we just implemented or adopted a revised retention schedule for the city of Orange. So with that would include looking at all of the records across all of the city departments and kind of making us, the city clerk department, really the central person for all of those records. So we would go through each department and making sure to inventory, make sure that they have records, that we don't have duplicates, we don't have drafts, copies, to make it a little easier for not only staff but the public to have access to those records.
Okay. And I know that you guys also are the liaison between the public and city council. Mm-hmm. So what does that look like? What types of things are coming through and what does that look like for the public?
So a lot of times the public will want to see, what happened at city council meetings. So we have that in our minutes, our resolutions, our ordinances. That is all part of the legislative history of what happens at a council meeting. So we are that central person or that central department that the public can come to access those records. We point them in the right direction. We have a lot of that online. Our council meetings are also broadcasted on Channel 3 and through our website. And then after the meeting, those videos are available on our website. So really, we are that connection between us and the council. A lot of times they'll come to us asking us questions and we can point them in the right direction. And that's really helpful for the public.
I know I find it helpful personally because I typically will wait. If I can't attend the meeting in person or watch it live, I will wait until everything's uploaded and then watch it so I can see all the pieces put together, and it just makes it easy because you can kind of skip through nicely and it's nice. Yeah. So has anyone else watched the meetings recorded? Yeah. We're all guilty. We watch the meetings online sometimes. Well, as far as other things that have been online, you also mentioned as a past win for your office is developing and implementing an online election portal. What does that look like?
So in 2020 with COVID, we were tasked to kind of safely create a process for candidates to run for election. And the Registrar of Voters implemented an online portal, candidate portal, so they can submit most of their documents through that portal before they had to meet with the registrar, or in our case, the city clerk. So we worked with, again, our IT to implement that in our office so that a candidate could process all of that beginning paperwork through the portal. So when they came to our office, it was a really quick, we still had to meet in person because there were certain things that the law requires that they do in person, but it was a really quick meeting. Instead of an hour meeting, you know, it could take 5 to 10 minutes where we just produced that, or issued them their nomination paperwork. So that made it a lot easier for them. And it made it easier for us, honestly, because then we had that, all that paperwork was done electronically, and we had it in one spot, and made it a lot more efficient and easier for us as well. So then we continued that through the following elections, and we're still kind of tweaking it a little bit. There's still some tweaks to it, but it has become a much easier process for the candidate and for our office.
Very nice. Okay. Well, we've covered a little bit. I see a question from Pat.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about, Sean and I recently have been appointed to commissions. Why don't you talk about the process, because we work with you and we have to come in and be sworn in, and I think your staff does a wonderful job. And I just thought maybe the audience would be interested in knowing that, you know, yes, the council may appoint you, but you got a lot of other things you got to do.
Yeah. Certainly. So yes, we oversee, our department oversees all of the boards and commissions that are appointed by the city council. So when a member of the public is appointed to one of those commissions, their next step is they come into our office. We administer an oath of office to them. We provide them with a notebook, a boards and commissions handbook that kind of goes through the process of what it means to be a commissioner or a member of a committee. And then we also do some training on, we've gone electronic with our agenda, all of our agendas. So we do a little bit of training on how to access those agendas, how to access the staff reports. And then there's also some training that's required of our boards and commissions, and ethics training and harassment training that they have to also complete. And there's also a Brown Act training. So there's quite a bit that has to happen before they can actually start serving on a board and commission. So yeah, we try to help them as much as possible through that process to make it a little bit easier.
That's quite a bit of, that's a lot.
It's not just like they just appointed you and you walk to the next meeting. There's a lot more involved, but her staff does a great job.
Awesome. I see Aaron has a question.
Well,
or comment.
I just want to give a shout out to Pam and her staff. I remember when we used to do paper staff reports, and so you'd have to route these staff reports physically because they have to be reviewed by the finance director, they have to be reviewed by the city attorney, by the city manager before it ends up on the agenda, right? And so, you know, staff reports sometimes get lost under other papers and everything.
Coffee stains.
Yeah. So, you know, Pam and her team oversaw moving to that electronic agenda system, and it's so much more efficient. It's such a great example of efficient government, and it also makes it easier and quicker to get the information out to the public. So it's been a great transition. And then also just wanted to ask you to highlight the passport services. That's something I've also taken advantage of.
Yeah, if you could talk about the passport services, that'd be great.
Sure. So we do passport services in our office. We have had to reduce that to just when our passport agent is there, which is that she's part-time due to budget reductions. We've had to reduce the times that we're able to provide those services. But members of our community can come in. We process the first-time passports and then passport renewals for children. So that's done through an appointment. It can be scheduled through our website. And then they come in. We help them get through the paperwork. We don't actually issue the passports, but we process the paperwork that then gets sent to the U.S. Department of State, and then they will issue the passport. But that is something that we do provide as customer service to our residents and to others in our community.
Awesome. I would also imagine like marriages and things like that.
No, we don't. We do not do marriages. The county of Orange does those.
Okay.
A city clerk is able to do marriages. You do have to go through a little bit of training through the county.
Okay.
It's not something that we've
don't do
implemented yet because it is time consuming.
For sure.
But yes, that is.
I feel like Orange would be a great place to get married, so we probably should do that.
You know, yeah. I have brought it up to the city manager, but at this time, yeah, we decided not to.
Like I'm
to go through
envisioning,
that.
like, you know, the fountain, all the things. Great spot. Well, passporting and online processes kind of brings me to AI, and I know you had mentioned AI and the city. Where it's kind of the hot topic. It's the buzzwords right now is AI, and how is that going to impact what you all do and how we experience things. So if you could tell us like where we are with AI in City of Orange.
Sure. So a lot of cities are now dealing with this, and what I think I would like to do is at least get started is an AI policy, because it is going to become more and more something that the staff uses, that other people use. It's a little, I think it's helpful. They are trying to work on an AI process for producing minutes, which I think would be helpful. But you also have to remember not to lose that human factor, because in city government, I think that's really important. And so although you can have AI help you draft a staff report, it's not going to take, the AI is not going to know what your community needs are, what your business needs are. So I think that you can't totally remove that human factor, because we know what our community needs. We know what, what special, with different districts in our city, what they require and what they need. So I think to a point it will be helpful, but I don't want us to lose sight of that human factor part of it, which, we're in public service. We serve the public, and we can't lose sight of that.
Also, I think one of the things I personally notice is like, so Sean, who's here, I rely on him a lot for second minutes. Like, so if I'm taking minutes somewhere, if we're in the same meeting, I'll say, hey, like, let me check your notes. I think AI is great for like that backup of like, hey, like here's kind of a fallback. Where do we mix this human blend with the electronic blend? Yeah. What do you think as far as like a rollout? Like, when are you looking to implement something?
Probably not, maybe within the next 5 years or so. I mean, it's a huge undertaking, creating a policy first and then kind of implementing that policy. But I think sooner rather than later, because I think a lot of employees are starting to, see it and rely on it. And we have to have something in place, I think. Before.
Do we know of other cities that are already doing it?
There's a couple cities that I know of that have started implemented an AI policy. And it really is, the policy is, something that all the departments have to kind of work together on. But whether or not, what you're going to allow, are you going to allow images? Are you going to allow, to what point are you going to allow staff to use AI to produce some of these documents and reports?
Got it. Now, also along the lines of like the internet and using different processes, you mentioned social media. So how does social media work within your department? And is your department the one that manages the social media for the city?
We do not. We do have a public information officer that handles our social media, but we do see it more and more as a way of not only elected officials, but for the city departments to get information out there. I think that's a lot of how our younger people receive their information. So I think it's going to be increasingly important to start to implement and use that to our advantage. But you also have to be careful, because there's a fine line, especially with what we do. We have to ensure that our electeds are not violating the Brown Act, which can easily be done with even just them liking something. If you have a quorum of people and they all like the same thing, then they're all kind of stating that they are in favor of whatever it might be. And if it's city business, we just have to be really careful that they're not, discussing any city business outside of the public meeting process.
That makes sense. Does your department have to, I guess, police that? Or
we don't police it, but if it's brought to our attention, we do have to address it.
Got it.
So we don't go out there and, look for it. But if it is brought to our attention, we do have to address it. And we partner with our city attorney's office to do that.
Okay. I mentioned did you have a question? Yes, Pat.
Well, but maybe you want to continue on the line that you're going, because I'm going to take her somewhere else.
Okay. No, go wherever you'd like to go, Pat.
Because I think it would be interesting to the listening and those of us here. There's an organization, and I can't recall the name of it, but City Clerk Association or whatever, where all of you, some of them are elected, some of them are appointed, and there's even a different name if you're from the East Coast. They don't call them city clerks, they call them town clerks.
Some of them are town clerks,
Town
yeah.
clerks.
Mhm.
And I thought it was fascinating. I had a friend who was a city clerk, and she was explaining to me how you utilize each other to really, the council may come up with this idea, well, because of this organization, this national organization, why don't you talk a little bit about it and your role in that?
Sure. So there's two organizations that I belong to. One is the City Clerks Association of California, which is just the California clerks. And then there's the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, which covers worldwide. But the city clerks are a close-knit community, and we rely on each other. We pass along information. We share it. When there's an issue that comes up, we have monthly meetings, roundtables, and we bring it up to the group, and we brainstorm, and we figure out, what other cities are doing, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we discuss it in that form. And it's been super helpful, especially during an election period, or when you're going on to districting. A lot of that's new for some cities, and so relying on your fellow city clerks has been extremely helpful to get you through that process.
I would think the AI issue was one.
It has been brought up, yes.
Talked about it around the table.
It has been, and so it's a really great forum to have and to rely on, for sure.
I didn't mean to take
No,
you off
that's a
track.
great question. No, not at all. Does anyone else have any questions? Question over Karina.
Pam, do you want to tell them about your study abroad experience and city clerks outside of the United States?
So yes, with the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, they host a study abroad program every 2 years. And so last year I had the opportunity to attend, and it was Belgium, the Netherlands. And it was fascinating to see how clerks across the world, we're all connected, and we all really do the same basic functions. It's the city clerk profession is one of the oldest professions. And so even though we might have a different setup of government, like we have a council city manager form of government, they still, take minutes. They still have to produce agendas. They still have public comments at their meetings. They still all deal with the same things. But it was interesting to see how the way that they conduct their municipal government is all very different, but yet the same. So, for instance, in one city in Belgium, they have, I think it was like 20 city council members. And so, the city clerk has to manage all of them with the city manager. And they don't have a two-party system in a lot of those countries. A lot of them said they had like 30 different parties that they're dealing with. And so it was just really interesting to see how that all kind of plays out, and how it's, again, similar but different.
And I know I've given up asking a fun question sometimes because we have guests that are more countywide, but do a lot in the city. But you're here, so I can ask you, what is your favorite, I guess, event or pastime here in the city of Orange?
Oh wow, I would say the tree lighting is something my entire family enjoys.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the other events, we all have our favorites, but the tree lighting is something that my entire family enjoys going to. And it's one of them that all my kids will show up to.
What are their age ranges?
So my youngest just turned 12, and then I have a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's tough getting them all out there.
It is. But the tree lighting is something that they all still enjoy doing as a
Nice.
family. So it's really something we've cherished and kind of made a tradition.
Oh, that's awesome. I guess I have one last kind of like more difficult question, and that is regarding the budget. So how has the city's budget challenges affected your department?
So like a lot of our departments in the city, we're a service-oriented department. So, you know, we service the city council, we service inner departments, we service the public. So there's not a lot we can eliminate and reduce. So it's people. So we have a frozen position right now, our records coordinator, which has made it challenging to implement a lot of that citywide records management program that we've been wanting to do. And then we had to, like I said, we had to reduce the passport services to when our passport agent was there, because a lot of the costs have gone up. So for instance, a legal ad that used to cost us $120, you know, maybe 5 years ago is now upwards to $600–700 for the same ad. And we're required to do it. We're required to post certain notices and publish them in the paper. Which is something the Clerks Association has tried to get, you know, we've tried to lobby to get away from that because a lot of people don't read the paper anymore. But we get a lot of pushback from the Newspaper Association. So it's a topic for another time. But so, you know, a lot of those costs have gone up for us that we're not able to without, you know, like I said, we don't have a lot to eliminate, but those costs keep rising. You know, our photo paper keeps rising. Postage, we do all of the incoming and outgoing mail for the city. So that postage, the postage equipment, it's all increased incredibly. And so just how the costs have gone up for us at home, it's the same for our department. So yeah, it's been challenging. But
And then any final words for our business community, maybe how they can best interact with your office?
Sure. You know, again, we're like the hub of information for the city. So anything that the business community needs as far as like either records or information, feel free to come in either into our office or call us, email us. We're happy to help. We're there to help you kind of guide through what department, because a lot of times businesses don't know what departments to reach out to. So, you know, we're a great department to start with to kind of guide you through the city government process.
Okay. Any final questions? Anyone have anything else you'd like to ask? All right. So with that, thank you so much. Don't leave yet though, because I do want to give some announcements for everybody.
Oh, sure.
Some fun announcements. Okay, so before we close, a couple of announcements. First and foremost, this Thursday, we have our very first Orange Chamber Foundation event. That is going to be the Blood Orange Ball. Who's going to be attending the Blood Orange Ball this week? I know, I'm coming. Anyone want to share their costume? Anyone want to tell me what their costume is?
Witch.
Oh, you're going to be witch? Yes, I know we saw your hat. I am costumeless, so I'll be working on that like post-haste after this meeting. So that's on Thursday. Do we still have tickets available? So we do still have tickets. So for those of you who are here, if you have not bought a ticket, see Connie on your way out the door. For those of you online, go ahead and message us or give the office a call. We can still get you into that event. We have our business networking group. That is one of my favorite groups. It's the first and third Wednesdays. It's a great way to meet new people and to stay intact with like what's going on in the business community. That's first and third Wednesdays. Next meeting is on the 6th at Zito's Pizza. Ribbon cuttings. We have on the 29th, the Ronald McDonald House of Orange County grand reopening. That is one you don't want to miss. If you aren't aware about Ronald McDonald House, you just can't go and visit. And I know many of us have probably grown up hearing about that, hearing about the organization. It's kind of a nice one-time shop that you can kind of go in and see what it looks like. It's just an amazing space. So please join us for that on the 29th. We have our mixer October 30th at Fairhaven Memorial Park and Mortuary, if that isn't fitting just before Halloween. So join us on the 30th for that. We have our business workshop series. That's going to be, this time is going to be Communication Impact. That's on November 4th. Then we have speed networking on November 14th. I guess Patty or Connie, is that the same as a Happy Mob-ish or no? No. Okay, speed networking on the 14th. Our next Eggs and Issues. So for those of you who are here in person, this is going to be our last in-person meeting of the year. It's always going to be in October. In November, we're going to be with the Women's Club of Orange. And so that meeting, as they are our nonprofit of the year, we make that very personable. People are oftentimes on vacation. So you guys can watch that from the comfort of your home or office, but I will be on location with them for that meeting. So thank you, Orange Cafe. It's been great hosting our meetings here this year. Just such a lovely location, a great breakfast. They're not open for those of you who are watching and haven't come to breakfast. They aren't open on Tuesdays. So they come in on Tuesdays with the whole team just for us, and it's a great breakfast. So if you can, come by another day. I believe they're open Wednesday to Sunday. Wednesday to Sunday, come in, have breakfast, have lunch, have dinner. It's a great location. So with that, I want to say thank you again to Pam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Berkinda.
Also, thank you to our staff, our board of directors, and our Orange Chair. Here we go again with the Orange Circle sponsors. Orange Chairman sponsors. I don't know why lately I can't get that one right. But thank you. We will see you next month.